What's up guys, Steve here with the RAM Real Estate Investing channel, the channel where we talk about how to make money in real estate investing. And today we're going to be discussing what you need to consider before you buy an investment property. Now we're going to be getting to that in just a second, but first I want to take a moment to say thank you to all of my subscribers and give you guys an opportunity today. You see, one of the things that I like to do in 2020 is help more people as much as I can, and even get a chance to meet some of the people that are following this channel that are trying to learn about how to invest in real estate. Now, I would like to do that today by offering you free one-on-one consultation 30-minute sessions. All you have to do is go to my website, www.ramrealestateinvesting.com, click on the consultation tab, fill out the form, and book a call with me totally free of charge. The charges are waived. So if you'd be interested in doing that, I would love to help you out, find out what you have going on, help you specifically with your current situation, and get a chance to meet some of my followers. Now, know that this is totally free. All you gotta do if you wanna say thank you is like this video, go ahead and leave a comment, maybe share it. And if you feel that the call is so valuable that you want to give me a donation, hey, I won't deny you that pleasure. But know that I'm not trying to get money out of this. I'm not going to get rich off of consultation calls, but you will make a lot of money off of real estate investing. So just wanted to take this moment to say thank you to you guys. For the month of January, I'm going to put this out there. If you're watching this after that, I don't know if I might continue this or not, but for right now, this is totally free. So go ahead and take advantage of this if you're interested. But without further ado, let's get into today's topic. So for those of you that have been following my channel for a little while, or maybe you follow me on Instagram at SteveRam3, you know that I'm a real estate investor and my main strategy is flipping. I've been flipping properties in California, Ohio, and now Missouri. And as a matter of fact, I just sold a property last week and I entered into escrow on 2 more properties this week. So I thought now would be a good time to talk about some of the things that I take into consideration before I buy these investment properties that you should consider as well to help you make good decisions on buying these properties. So I'm going to start off with the age-old investor adage,
you make your money when you buy the property.
And that is so true. You need to be figuring out all the money that you're going to be making before you purchase the property. Now listen, I know what you see on HGTV, right? You see some flippers, they go out on a whim and they buy a property, they fix up this property, they go way over budget and they deck it out. Then afterwards, they're trying to sit there and figure out how much do we list it for? Are we going to break even? Are we going to lose money? And then they list it on the market, there's a massive bidding war and they make $1 million and it's a huge success. That is 100% TV. Now listen, don't get me wrong, I love those shows, I watch all of them too. However, I guarantee you that those flippers had a pretty good idea of how much money they were going to make before they listed it, before they even bought the property. See, before you do any of that, you need to sit down and you need to figure out all of the numbers so that way you're not making bad investment decisions. So what you need to do, the very first thing that you need to do if you're looking at an investment property is figure out the value of it. Now, if you're a flipper, that is called the A.R.V, or the after repair value. If you're going to be buying and holding, maybe using the BRRRR strategy, you need to figure out the L.T.V, which is the loan to value, figure out the value and then how much the loan will be, and then you can figure out if it's going to cash flow. And if you're just looking to buy it and you just want to know like how much it's worth, they call it the F.M.V, or the fair market value. But the first thing that you need to figure out is how much is this property worth? Well, you might be thinking to yourself,
well, that's great, Steve, but how am I supposed to figure out how much my property is worth?
Well, for that, we use what's called comps or comparables. You see, in single-family residential real estate, or if you have just one single property, one house, we use comparables. We look at the other houses in the neighborhood, what they've sold for, and chances are, if your house is similar, it should sell for the same. And the criteria that we use for that is the square footage. We want to find similar size houses, the layout or the bedrooms and bathrooms, similar bedrooms and bathrooms, and also properties that are within a 1/4 mile or a 1/2 mile radius, or we can go out further if we need, if there's not a lot of comps, but you want to keep it nice and tight so that way you're in the same neighborhoods. And also properties that have sold within maybe the last 3 months or 6 months, the sooner the better, so that way we know that the market hasn't fluctuated too dramatically and you will get that similar asking price. Now I say similar, not the same, because if yours is more upgraded or has a bigger garage or has a pool or better features that might entice a buyer to pay more, chances are your property will sell for a little bit more, but pretty close to the comps. So the first thing you want to do is find out what the comps are. Now, if you don't have an agent that has access to the MLS to help you out with that, take a look at comps on websites such as Realtor, Redfin, Zillow, Trulia. These websites can provide you comps so that way you can see how much closely your property is worth. So once you find the value of the property, the next thing you want to take into consideration if you're flipping this property or intend to sell it soon is how much the selling fees are going to be. So now, whenever you sell a property, the seller pays for the commissions, which is typically 6%. 3% to the selling agent and 3% to the buying agent for them dealing with all the paperwork and putting the deal together for you and the buyer. So 6% of whatever the selling price is. And also in addition to that, you want to consider your selling fees. Now, I have right here my closing statement from the property that I just sold last week. I'm going to take a look here and let you know some of the things that are on here. There's titles and escrow charges. There is government charges. There is, let's see here, notary, taxes, a couple different charges here. And these are kind of hit and miss. I haven't figured this out yet, but roughly I want to say usually your closing fees could be anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 or $6,000. It just depends on how much the property is, and it depends on where it's located at. So that could vary, but hit or miss. If you want to be on the safe side, maybe I'd plug in like a number of 5,000, but it could be way more. It just depends on the property. So don't quote me on that, but you want to consider your 6% commissions, and you also want to consider your closing fees. You also want to take into consideration your fees when you purchase the property. So when you purchase the property, there's also going to be some additional fees. However, you don't have to pay commissions when you're purchasing the property, so it will be just the fees alone. And for this same property, it looks like my fees were roughly $2,000. Now, take into consideration the fact that this is Cleveland, Ohio. This property, I purchased it for like $50,000, then I sold it for like $85,000. So these numbers are a little bit on the lower side. But my closing fees for the purchase were roughly that amount. Next, you want to take into consideration your rehab costs or your renovation costs, whatever you want to call it, where you're going to be fixing up the property, because chances are you're buying a fixer or something that needs some work to get such a good discount on it, right? You're buying somebody else's problem and you're willing to fix it so that way you can gain that potential equity. So what you want to do is you want to get a contractor, somebody that you trust that can give you a good solid quote and let you know how much the work is. Or if you're going to be doing the work yourself, you're going to need to consider how much materials are and how much time it's going to take you to do this. Now, typically, usually if you do the work yourself, it's going to take a little bit longer, but it's going to save you money. But if you get a professional in there, if you're not already a professional, they will charge you a little bit more, but chances are they'll do a better job and it'll go a little bit faster. But make sure that you get a good contractor. Sometimes it can be hard to get a good contractor. They have some have poor communication or kind of newer and haven't quite developed their skills yet. But if you find a good one, get them, hold on to them, bring them work, and don't nickel and dime them, pay them what they're asking, because keep in mind this is their livelihood too. So get a good contractor that can get you quotes while you're in escrow, because the last thing you want is to get a quote for, oh, this job's going to cost you $20,000. Then afterwards you get into it and find out, oh, it's actually going to cost me $50,000, because that can just totally destroy somebody. You want to make sure that you have a good solid quote in advance. So figure out what your rehab costs are going to be for this property. Next, you want to take into consideration your holding costs. Now, if you're not going to be buying this all cash with your own money and you're going to be bringing in private money or a lender or a hard money lender, you're going to be needing to pay on this loan. So you need to figure out how much that's going to be every single month. So you want to estimate how long am I going to be holding this, repairing it, getting it ready, and how long is it going to take to actually sell? Because during that time, you're going to be needing to make payments on it, and take into consideration too any utilities that you might need to be paying on. If you have any HOA fees that you need to pay, you need to take those into consideration too, because every month that passes, or every day if you have a hard money lender, you're going to be owing on this property and you're going to have to be paying for that loan. So you need to take that into your consideration as well. However, if you're buying this all cash, you don't have to worry about it, because pretty much you'll owe utilities, which are usually minor, and you don't have to worry about it. And usually, most of the time, when you see flippers coming in and making offers, they're offering all cash. Quick closing, getting the job done, and then also too, when they're repairing the property, they don't have to worry about that holding cost. So if you can do that, that is a very powerful strategy to buy all cash. All right, so once you figured out the A.R.V, and then you take into consideration the selling commissions, the selling fees, the purchase fees, the rehab fees, the holding fees, Then you want to take a look at their asking price and see what the difference is between those. Now, if the asking price is very, very close and you're breaking even, then you definitely don't want to do this deal because there's no profit. And the last thing you want to do is spend all this time and energy and put it into this property if there's no potential profit. Now, if there's a huge gap, you want to see the difference and figure out how much that profit is. And what a lot of investors I know do is they have a limit, like, I'm not going to do this deal unless I make $50,000 profit or $25,000 or 10, whatever the case may be, whatever your standard is, you want to make sure that it's in there. And usually they like to even go a little bit higher. Like say they want 25,000, they might say, I want to do 30 because I want to do just a little bit extra buffer because things go wrong, things take longer than you expect, trust me. So you always want to take that into consideration. It's not how greedy you are, it's how much of a buffer of safety do you want for when, not if, things go wrong. All right, you guys, well, I hope this video was helpful. I hope it provided you a lot of good information, things to consider when you're going to be buying a property because
You make your money when you buy the property.
So if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And again, if you guys are interested in a free one-on-one consultation, go ahead and go to my website, www.ramrealestateinvesting.com. Click on the consultation page, fill out the form, and we can book a free call in the month of January for 2020. I look forward to getting a chance to meet some of you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I look forward to seeing you guys investing in real estate. Again, this is Steve. God bless. Make it a great one.